Yes, so welcome tonight. My name's Hugh Hunt. I am the keeper of the clock at Trinity College. If you're interested, then on the day in October when the clocks go backwards an hour, rather perversely, I will be putting the clock in Trinity forward 23 hours, which is quite fun to watch the hands whizzing around at high speed. Do come in on that Sunday morning at about 10 o'clock in the morning and you can watch that and then come and have a look up at the clock. I'm in the Department of Engineering, Centre for Climate Repair, and we're trying to figure out how to refreeze the Arctic if we fail to meet our CO2 emissions targets, which is looking fairly likely. So if you want to have a chat about that after tonight, then I'd be more than happy to tell you a bit more. We've got lots of questions. The rules of the game is that the questions were all entered in before this afternoon, and they've been vetted and they've been merged together, and we've got a good number of questions for tonight, which I will be going through. If there are any burning questions from the audience or from online, then we can take them if the topic is getting particularly exciting. But let's try and make tonight buzz along a bit. So let me get things rolling. I'll introduce our mayoral candidates tonight. On my right is Lorna Dupre from the Liberal Democrats, and Bob Ensch from the Green Party, and on my left is Paul Bristow from the Conservative Party, and Anna Smith from the Labour Party. Let's give them all well, we've had apologies from Ryan Coogan from Reform, who was unable to get here. I think it was traffic, which is a good topic which we might talk about tonight. So let's just get straight into it. There were 23 questions from the 98 registered attendees voted on the questions, so we had a good lot of interest. So let's begin with a popular question, which was proposed amongst others from Sarah Hughes at Cambridge Sustainable Travel Alliance. And I'm going to direct this one first to Anna, and it is. So what's your vision for public transport in Cambridgeshire and how will you fund it?
I feel I'm taking it for the team by going first there. So, and first of all, it's fantastic to be here, and I think the amount of people here and online as well just shows absolutely how important these mayoral elections are. So, my vision for transport in Cambridgeshire and Pboro is about choice, and it's about a high quality integrated transport network that works for everyone. I have some experience in this area. I am currently Deputy Mayor in charge of transport at the Cambridgeshire and Pboro Combined Authority, so I'm really proud of having introduced the £1 Tiger cards for under 25s, having introduced pre-9:30 concessionary travel for people with older person and disabled people's bus passes, and particularly having been instrumental in taking back control of our buses through franchising. But there's so much more to do. And what we need is a transport network that really works for people in Cambridgeshire and Pboro, that is practical right now, that has vision for the future too. So that means drawing together all of our different modes of transport, whether that's ensuring that our roads are good quality, so that we don't have potholes, whether that means we have better buses, whether that means we look at high quality trains, whether that means we're looking towards good quality mass transit, and it means good cycling, walking and wheeling. What you would never get from me are plans that I cannot fund. So I've been very careful in looking at the funding for all of these things, and there's a range of ways that you can fund all of these things, because we have to ensure that we have a transport network that works now and that has a vision for the future. Now, I could say a lot more. I'm a bit of a transport geek. I will stop there, but I'm very happy to take further questions.
Thank you very much. So, Lorna, would you like to...
Okay. Yes, likewise. Thank you very much indeed for the invitation to be here. This is the the first and maybe even the only genuinely open hustings of the campaign. So I think this is a particularly important event, and it's great to see so many organisations and individuals have taken part in putting it together so well. I think the vision for public transport and how to fund it, I think vision is the right word, because one of the things I'm most concerned to do if I'm elected as mayor is to stop the 4-year cycle of everybody tearing up each other's work. We have got to make a decision collectively what we are going to do, a single agreed solution for managing particularly the issue of mass transit into, around and out of Cambridge. There are different issues in different parts of the county and in Pboro. I live in East Cambridgeshire, and just having a bus at all would be very nice for some of our villages, and Fenland in particular is the second worst district in the entire country for the loss of bus services over the last 25 years. It's lost well over 80% of its bus services, and that is absolutely lamentable. But in terms of a vision for public transport, I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to get to grips with the decision to franchise buses. I think it was the right decision to make, but the only decision that has been made so far is to franchise, not how to franchise. And there are things that we need to do to make sure that we get that right. For example, making sure that the smaller and more, in many respects more community-based operators get a chance, a fair chance to bid for tenders and aren't frozen out of the picture, so that we end up with a nominally franchise system in the hands of one big monopoly operator. That's a really important trap to avoid. And I want to see real community input into choosing the routes and bundling those routes together to franchise them, so that we get what it is that people want. I'm going to mention the phrase light rail or trams, because I think that, expensive though that would be, I cannot imagine a long-term sustainable future for Cambridge with all the growth that is already planned for it, never mind what else the government may fling at us, without something of that sort of thing. I came into this meeting this evening on the guided bus. I drove to Longstanton, got on the guided bus at Longstanton, and got deposited at New Square. That works very well for me. What I would like is for my residents just outside, about 20 minutes from Longstanton, to be able to get to Longstanton by bus and take that same journey. However, my very dear friend, the County Councillor for Bristow, tells me that she doesn't want my residents coming and using the bus from Longstanton, thank you, because her residents who have bought their homes or rented their homes and taken their jobs on the basis that there will be public transport accessible to them via the guided busway, are finding that they can't actually get on the guided busway in the morning when they need to use it. So that is not that old as a piece of infrastructure, but it's already failing to cope with the numbers of people there already are, never mind the many thousand that may come. We have other busways in plan, but we need to do much more than that, and a much more ambitious integrated system. And I think there are ways in which we can fund that. There have been groups working very hard on that as a principle, and it's something I think we need to pursue with vigour.
Very good, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Lovely to be here this evening with you. The state of our roads is absolutely shocking. Public transport doesn't work in this county. It just doesn't. And time is funny, isn't it? Don't you think it's just strange how whenever you're in the present moment, everybody's got all sorts of ideas for what they're going to do to make things better. But we've had political parties serving this region for years. They're the ones that made the roads shocking and didn't fix the public transport. That's the truth. So I've spent my life working in construction. I'm not a politician. So I had to do a lot of swatting up when I started this campaign. So I'd like to tell you what I've done. I've spoken with Cambridge Sustainable Travel Alliance. I've spoken with Cambs, we've exchanged emails. I've been to meet Stagecoach this morning and talked to them about the bus services. I've met with Cambridge Connect, who are the organisation promoting the light rail system for Cambridge. And I'm beginning to form a view of what we should do. First thing we shouldn't do is build the bonkers busways. Carving huge swathes of concrete through our beautiful countryside to provide a system which is not very fit for purpose. I'm quite pleased that the bus franchising thing has finally got moving. It seems to have taken an internal length of time, but it certainly needs to happen now. And fundamentally, we need more buses on more routes with simple and affordable fares. Straightforward. We need to deal with congestion in Cambridge in the long term too. I know it's a political hot potato, but something's got to be done about it. And having met Cambridge Connect, I actually think a light rail system is sensible and workable. They tell me that provided the funding is seeded by the public sector, they think the whole thing could be primarily funded by the private sector, which would be fantastic. So there'd be no increase to council taxes to fund it for the local population. I'd just like to mention rail briefly. There's this mad rush for growth in our region, which really, I mean, this region is growing already. We don't need to push it harder and harder, but we're going to have East-West Rail. So what's happened is that the developers have lobbied to put East-West Rail going south of Cambridge, so it links into Cambridge South. What a barking mad idea that is. It's obviously far better, it's faster, it's cheaper, and it's far more effective in solving transport problems if it goes north of Cambridge and connects to Cambridge North. The amount of freight that it will take off the A14 is phenomenal. We've got to think more strategically. We can't just keep tinkering around with little solutions that don't work. They're my ideas anyway. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's working. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to be with you today. So my name's Bristow. I was the MP for Pboro. I live in Wansford, which is just outside Pboro. I grew up in the Fens. Both my parents were NHS nurses. I even got rejected by Cambridge University. So it's wonderful to be able to sit here and share my ideas around public transport with you. Look, there are two fundamental challenges our county faces. Cambridge is of international significance, Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire. And this didn't happen by accident. And we need to do what we can to ensure that those jobs, that growth, that opportunity remains. And the second challenge we have is in Pboro and the Fens, and to coin a phrase, we have to level up and make sure that that prosperity and that growth is shared across our county. And how are we going to do it? Well, connectivity is the way we're going to do it. And of course that involves roads, that involves dualling our roads. We can do it. There's lots of plans, there's been feasibility studies with the A10, the A47 can be done, but of course it's going to involve public transport too. And if I got a train from Pboro down to London, or a train from Cambridge down to London, it would take 45 minutes or so. If I've got a train from Pboro to Cambridge, two big cities in our area, it would take 55 minutes. So we need to do something which is going to connect our county a great deal better. And that Ely Junction is key. Because if we can connect Pboro, our market towns, Ely, our third city, and Cambridge together by much faster trains, we can have an opportunity that connects our county and ensures that levelling up. But we also have an opportunity to ensure that people use trains instead of using their cars to get to work in and around Cambridge. Oh, and the other thing we're going to do, and I'm delighted to hear this conversion from Lorna, from Bob, that they now are in favour of light rail. There's only an hour to go, but we're going to build light rail. And the reason we're going to build light rail, because it needs to be three things. It needs to be cheap, reliable, and regular. And if if we do that, people will vote with their feet. They will use light rail, and we can start to decongest our roads in Cambridge. And by the way, Angela Rayner is coming. And like the White Walkers in Game of Thrones, she's not going to take any prisoners. She's going to build these homes in Cambridgeshire, whether we like it or not. And we need to start being the sort of county where things don't happen to us, we can actually set our own agenda. And we do that by having big visions about things we can do to ease congestion in and around Cambridgeshire and connect our county. And that, my friends, is light rail. So let's get out there and do it, because the only thing that holds us back is our own lack of ambition. We can do this. It's happened elsewhere in the UK, and it's happened across the continent. We can do this. And we need these big ideas, and we work together, whether you're Conservative, Labour, Liberal, Green, or whoever. If you hold public office in and around Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire, let's unite. Let's build light rail and get Cambridgeshire and Peterborough moving.
Money, please.